Timothy Very, the longtime drummer of Manchester Orchestra, has died at the age of 42. The heartbreaking news was confirmed by the band on February 14 through an emotional statement shared on Instagram. His sudden passing has sent shockwaves through the indie rock community, leaving fans, fellow musicians, and longtime collaborators in deep grief. Manchester Orchestra described the loss in deeply personal terms. In their full statement, the band wrote, "The entire Manchester Orchestra family has been devastated by the sudden passing of our brother, Timothy Very, the most beloved human being any of us were lucky enough to know in this life. We've all been dreading sharing this news as we are all still in absolute disbelief." The tone of the message reflected not only professional respect, but profound personal heartbreak. They went on to describe Tim as someone who was instantly likable. According to the band, he interacted with everyone he met with kindness and warmth. His laugh was infectious. He had the rare ability to make strangers feel welcomed immediately. In their words, strangers quickly became friends and friends became family. His humor and energy were described as the very foundation that held together what they called the MO universe. Tim Very joined Manchester Orchestra in 2011, stepping into the role of drummer after the departure of Jeremiah Edmond. Although the band had already established a presence in the indie rock world, Very's arrival marked a significant evolution in their sound. He quickly became more than just a rhythm keeper. He became a core creative force. His first recorded work with the band appeared on the album Simple Math, and it immediately signaled a new chapter for Manchester Orchestra. The record carried a cinematic quality, blending sweeping arrangements with deeply personal lyrics, and Tim Very's drumming became a key part of that transformation. He did not simply keep tempo, he shaped mood. His playing showed technical precision, but it never felt mechanical. Instead, it felt intentional and emotionally aware. He understood that sometimes the most powerful contribution a drummer can make is restraint. He allowed verses to breathe, giving space for vocals and guitar textures to unfold naturally. Then, when the moment demanded it, he drove the intensity forward with controlled force. That careful balance between power and subtlety became one of the defining elements of the band's evolving sound. He continued to shape the band's identity on albums such as Cope, A Black Mile to the Surface, and The Million Masks of God. Each project carried its own emotional landscape. Cope leaned heavier and more aggressive, requiring stamina and impact behind the kit. In contrast, A Black Mile to the Surface demanded nuance and sensitivity. Tim adapted seamlessly. His drumming provided structure without overshadowing the vulnerability of Andy Hull's lyrics. He anchored the band's expansive arrangements while preserving their emotional fragility. On A Black Mile to the Surface, in particular, his rhythm work stood out. He supported dramatic builds and quiet reflections with equal control. Songs transitioned from near silence to explosive climaxes, and his timing made those shifts feel organic rather than abrupt. That dynamic contrast became central to the band's signature style, and Tim's steady presence behind the drums played a crucial role in making it possible. Live performances were another space where Tim's impact was undeniable. Concertgoers often described him as focused, steady, and deeply present. He did not demand attention through flashy solos. Instead, he anchored the band with strength and subtlety. His presence allowed the rest of the group to explore emotional expression while knowing the foundation was secure. The official band statement made it clear that music was only part of who Tim was. The only thing that Tim loved more than creating music was being with his family, they wrote. "You'd be pressed to find a more joyful dad." That description has resonated widely across social media as fans and friends reflect on the personal side of the musician. Outside of the stage and studio, Tim was known for his humility. Fans who met him after shows often share stories of his kindness. He would stay to talk, take photos, and listen. He did not rush interactions. He treated supporters as part of the extended Manchester Orchestra community. The band also emphasized that if someone loved Tim, he loved them back. That statement has offered comfort to many fans who feel a personal connection through years of music and live experiences. As tributes continue to pour in from across the music industry, fellow drummers and artists have praised his balance of technical skill and emotional sensitivity. Many have noted that it is rare to find a musician who can combine power with restraint so effectively. Manchester Orchestra formed in Atlanta, Georgia in 2004. Over time, they developed a reputation for emotionally honest songwriting and intense live performances. Tim's addition in 2011 coincided with a period of growth and artistic expansion. For more than a decade, he remained a consistent presence in their evolution. In addition to his band work, Tim had recently launched a podcast called Timmy's Timeline. The project focused on his musical journey, featuring interviews with industry veterans and reflections on his path to joining Manchester Orchestra. The podcast revealed another side of him, thoughtful, reflective, and curious about the craft of music. Listeners appreciated how he approached conversations not as a star but as a student. He asked detailed questions. He showed respect for those who came before him. That humility was consistent with the image painted by his bandmates. At just 42 years old, his passing feels especially difficult for fans. He was in the midst of creative momentum. Manchester Orchestra remained active, and his podcast suggested continued artistic exploration. As the community processes this loss, attention has turned to how his life will be honored. While detailed public information about funeral or memorial arrangements has not yet been formally released, it is expected that any service will reflect both his musical legacy and his deep devotion to family. Given the close relationship between the band and its fans, many anticipate that tributes will carry significant emotional weight. It is also likely that future performances by Manchester Orchestra may include moments of remembrance. Songs from the albums he helped shape may take on new meaning for audiences. His rhythm work will continue to echo through recordings and live archives. The indie rock world has long valued authenticity and connection, and Tim very embodied those qualities. His influence extended beyond studio sessions. He helped build a community where music felt honest and personal. Band members have described him as a force of positivity. That phrase stands out in their statement. It suggests not just talent but character. It speaks to someone who lifted others up consistently. As of now, no official cause of death has been publicly disclosed. The band's announcement did not include medical details, and no further explanation has been shared through verified sources. In situations like this, it is important to rely only on confirmed information and avoid speculation. Fans continue to share favorite drum moments online. Streaming numbers for Manchester Orchestra's albums have increased as listeners revisit the work he helped create. In comment sections, people describe the music as a soundtrack to their own growth. For Manchester Orchestra, this marks a painful turning point. Bands often describe themselves as families, and the loss of a member carries emotional consequences that extend beyond professional adjustments. Navigating grief while honoring legacy will be part of their journey forward. Timothy Very's story is one of dedication, balance, and quiet strength. He did not chase spotlight, he supported it. He created structure that allowed emotion to flourish. As further verified updates become available regarding memorial or funeral arrangements, those details will be shared through official channels. For now, the focus remains on remembering a musician whose rhythm shaped a generation of indie rock listeners. His life may have ended at 42, but his influence continues. Every time a Manchester Orchestra song plays, his steady, expressive drumming lives on. And for the fans who found comfort, release, and connection in that music, his presence will never fully fade.